if that's actually active.
No,
Probably not.
Pretty old.
it's a lot louder than that. We use triple height. Three different frequencies. At least they do.
Now with morning, folks, if you don't bother them, usually they'll leave you alone. And I know that for sure because I had a basement full of them. I mean, full of them. Hundreds. So we called the pest company. And they dusted the place. And then I had all those dead hornets all over the place. But anyway, I found over the years, unless you get near their home or swat at them, they pretty much would rather ignore you unless you're food. If you have a can of Coke and it's October, a nice day, they'll go into the can of Coke. And if you take a sip, they will sting you. Yes, absolutely. But other than that, pretty much ignore them and they'll leave you alone. Got that? If you swat it, you're asking for trouble. And the reason we have them around here is because they're looking for food and because we have plenty of places for them to establish nests. So anyway, here's the helm. We're going to have a helmsman. We're going to have an assistant helmsman or a relief helmsman. Relief helmsman is going to man the engine order telegraph, and I'm going to ask you not to touch that, please. It's one of a kind. We don't know where we'd get another. We probably wouldn't be able to. A lot of brass parts, so on and so forth. So, if we want to make a maneuver involving changing the speed on the engines, then we use the engine order telegraph. That sends a signal to the engine rooms. Each engine room, different handle, and they know what to do. They answer that by moving their handles, and that causes a bell to ring up here. It's called answering the bells. Okay, let's take the situation where we're attacking a submarine. We move the ship. It's ahead of us now, crossing our bow, fire hedgehogs, go over it, drop our depth charges. What are our sonarmen listening to then at that point? Nothing. No, nothing. Too noisy? And how about sonar? Where's that aimed? More out than down back then. So we got a dead zone underneath us. Won't do them any good anyway. Too much noise, got a dead zone underneath us. So it behooves us to get out of there. So we do what's called a Williamson turn. We're probably going pretty much full speed. We're going at least 15 knots to make sure those depth charges don't damage our own ship. So say the submarine is crossing our bow that way, more than likely if I were conning the ship or the captain, I'd want to make a turn to port. Full speed turn to port, full speed ahead on the starboard propeller, reverse on the port. Put the wheel over and we will turn on a dime. We're actually more maneuverable than a full destroyer because we're shorter. And that's one of the design considerations. Okay, the helmsman now is told to change to a course. He knows what course he's supposed to change to. And on the gyro compass, giving us true readings compared to true north, that might say, okay, come to course 300, that way. When we get there, we're going to turn around and reacquire the target perhaps. And if we do, we might do a team effort type thing. We might reacquire the target, stay out there at a slow speed, ping on that submarine, get a fix on it, ship-to-ship radio, call another DE, have them coast up on it. They hear our pinging in that submarine, they don't hear this guy coming. So teamwork might be the way we do it. Those things become possible when we have enough of these to start using hunter-killer groups. Maybe a 4-engine B-24 has spotted a submarine on the point on the ocean. Maybe one of our small aircraft has spotted it. Maybe we send 3 of these out to go after it. And we did. It worked, and that's why the U-505 is in Chicago. It was captured by the USS Slater. Okay, if you're interested, we can always use the magnetic compass, which uses readings compared to magnetic north. It is not the most desirable, but in a pinch, it will certainly work. If you're interested, this is the meter that shows our roll. You can see it goes to 70. The highest estimated was 76, which one of these DEs recovered. Any questions?
These balls on either side.
They can help null the effect of the ship. Ship's like a big magnet. The bow, North Pole, stern, South Pole, lines of magnetism. So to null that effect, you're going to move these iron balls in or out to bring it back to what it should read at that point. Where do you do that? When do you do that? Usually in port. How long does it last? Well, as soon as you change the loading factor, use more power, less power, all kinds of things are going to complicate that. Also want to point out 50 caliber machine guns that can be shifted to positions on the wings of the bridge. There are little fittings out there, so you can actually use 50 caliber machine guns in addition to the other cannon we'll see in a couple minutes. Okay, let's move on. Okay, you'll see a spotlight out here. You'll see a poultice or signal lamp that I'll have on by then.
What do you think that would have been for? Like
The lights.
send something upstairs,
Oh, that's true.
and then it goes, there we go, goes out back too.
David, did you gonna mention the 505?
Yeah.
That one too.
This will be about another 10 minutes. They all make it. You doing okay, buddy? Getting tired? Cold out through it. Okay, this is a signal lamp. I think I've been on. Yep. And you can blink out Morse code with it. The problem is you can only send it to one spot at a time. So that's where the yard arm blinkers might come in handy. You can send out one message to everybody with sight. 3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots. SOS, very good, sir. Okay, also up here are your halyards for signal flags. They have a snap hook and a ring. Each flag has a snap hook and a ring. So it's designed to only pull one way. You snap the hook on the halyard to the ring on the flag, and at the other end the snap hook on the flag to the ring on the halyard, and you can compose the message that way. Okay, we're going to go back down to go window.
Both are flying, they're flying, one sends us radio call sign, the other one says ship's ID. The DE sends up 7-6.
really keep on board.
Figured it out though.
There's the bells to go to the top. Is the signal the guys up there?
Supposed to leave.
One. I got the tickets already.
It goes to a steam horn, Larry. No, those days are long.
Today, yeah. The call signs for the radio still work. Radio still works. Ham radio operators. And mostly they talk to other ships. Okay, back to my phone. About 90%
Well done fishing. Oh yeah.
You feel that rocking?
Yeah, you notice.
right up in the rail line. Okay, this is a 20 millimeter Orlicon. Since the United States wasn't using the metric system, that means this had to come from Europe. That means it's designed in Europe, and we were sold the license to build it. We were sold the license by the Swiss. It's actually a German design, made by them a Becker. Came up with it in World War I. The Swiss perfected it, licensed and sold it to that, including Japan. You ever see a reference Type 99 cannon? Germans, an MGFF. So that Focke-Wulf has one Orlicon. It's powerful. So universally used. High rate of fire, 460 rounds a minute per barrel, but no cooling mechanism. You have to let the barrels cool down or change them, or otherwise they perhaps would work when they take them off the hot seawater. You got a fresh set right up here, right in here. Back when the ship had torpedo tubes, right about where that gentleman is standing with the blue brothers here, that's about where the torpedo tube started. All the way back to that pier back there. So you can see they took a lot of things. And not only could we add more sets here, we doubled up all the single barrel boilers. They doubled. So we have 9 sets now. This cannon is not a cannon, it's a practice motor. That would have been moved from 4 to the smokestack. That's the smokestack. Maybe more to teach some young sailors how to be part of it. Another set of expansion.
Spoons are two torpedo rotations. They were triple torpedoes, and you shut through the hull because of the gas. We always want to drive it up in Boston because you're never going to get all of that shit like this. And you can have asphalt. So, kids.
Oh, or that.
The Bosun's true. The Bosun's true.
5 minutes. If you have to leave now, you
We
can.
don't.
Got time? Is it 1 o'clock? We'll get you off within 5 minutes. Okay, these are 40 millimeter cannon, designed in a European country. This country was Sweden. They are a neutral. Switzerland's a neutral. Switzerland and Sweden are making a lot of money. Not only that, they're staying neutral because they're supplying arms to anybody that wants them. So, for instance, this ship has a 40 millimeter Bofors, it's called, is the company. A German E-boat or Schnell boat that might have one of these on the stern without the water-like glycol jacket. Universal usage. We sometimes had quad mounts of these. They do come with a fire director though. So as that revolves with a man up there, 2 men actually, this will revolve. So many times these men are along for the ride. They do the firing though. The pointer again fires it by using this foot, a foot treadle. The loaders, and there would be 4 of them, are taking rounds out of the gun tub, handing them to another loader up here. That loader drops them in the breech. As long as he has his foot down the treadle, it will keep firing. 160 rounds a minute. It does have a cooling mechanism. Excellent weapon. The British nickname for it is pom-pom. Because if these loaders get it all out of sync, one barrel might be going up, the other might be coming back and vice versa.
How long did it travel? How long did
A little over 2 miles. The little one, the 20 millimeter, just under 1 mile. The other thing up here is the high line chair. You can rig a bunch of lines to another ship and send someone over in a sitting position. It's a good way to exchange films. And we have the rust spots to show.
Unless you're the unlucky guy sitting in the chair and they dunk you.
Yep. How do they dunk you?
Huh? They slacken the line.
Slack the lines, right. Because the way they don't want to do it is by coming together on a roll. If they get into a roll that sink, yeah, you might drown.
We used to send those back and forth with the oiler all the time. It was like, it was classic. You put somebody in the chair, he's going to get wet.
Yep. Yeah. Well, in the North Atlantic, there's a little choice. Because you're going to have some slack on those lines at some point. Okay, let's go back down to the main deck, folks. We're just about done with the tour.
Sometimes on purpose. Yeah.
I didn't know I had Thôi chắc anh có đau đi rồi.
Charge.
We were just in Ann Arbor a couple weeks ago.
Where was that?
Ann Arbor.
Oh.
But it wasn't a game day, thank heavens. It was bad enough.
Yes, with over 100,000 people on game.
Yeah, just in the stadium, right? Good job, buddy. High five? All right, who's tired?
That's amazing.
If you have a chance, take a look at those things made out of line. Those are called fenders. We make them right on the ship. And they're used to pushing the ship against the dock. Back then, that's what they would use. Large fenders. Okay, back this way if you would, folks. These are arbors in which you put the depth charges on. You put the arbor in, use block and tackle to raise the depth charge, put the depth charge on top of the arbor. And the way they work is you open the breech, you put a shell casing with a certain amount of powder in it, and that can vary depending how big a pattern you want. If you want it out to 100 yards, then it is filled with powder bags. If you want it closer, you can get down to 50 yards. Put it in the breech. There's a firing pin here, and we'll put it all the way in. Close the breech, pull the lanyards. That causes an explosion directed down here, forcing the inside of this out, like one of those against the bulkhead over there on that gun tub. Actually, that gun tub would have arbors all the way around it. It'd be rather tight working in here. This is the old style or ash can type. It tends to tumble. It tends to wallow. It takes its time to get down. It was redesigned to the teardrop shape, and it plummets 3 times as fast. It didn't appreciably improve our numbers, but it did make them explode more quickly and a better chance that the submarine would get at least shaken up. You set it with a depth charge wrench, and that attaches to the dial at the front of the depth charge. And by moving the wrench around, you tell the depth charge at what depth it is to explode. Okay, you might thinking if you have any final questions, we just have a walkthrough, and then when you get to the quarterdeck, you go over, please exit through the ship's door, and that way they'll know the tour is over. I got an idea they'll know our tour is over because there are so many of you. This is about the maximum number we would try to handle. So I appreciate your cooperation because you have been very pleasant and orderly, and no one got lost, no one got hurt. Thank you very much. Appreciate having you. Okay, around this way, folks. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm just going to show you through the axis.
What's your rate? I was neat. Oh, okay. I was started out as an ET. Changed. They sent me back to school for all kind of work. They were sure, really sure what kind of work was. I spent the rest of my career as a nice. Well, 91, I messed my left knee up, and we won the Cold War, so they were looking for an excuse to get rid of it when they could.
Well, right after, did you go to Desert Storm?
I was in with Desert Storm.
So right after the end, that's when they kind of started, you know.
Yeah.
Started letting people go.
Yeah, they paid me what they called a lump sum retirement. It really was severance pay.
Yeah.
Right in here. Yep, folks.
Scott, where you go?
Oh. Emergency radio room, damage control locker, ship's head, damage control in the chest, foam proportioner. Keep walking, just follow those folks. Aft battle dressing station up there.